Hello, everybody. Welcome to the KISS podcast.
Keep it simple, sister.
Hi, Diana.
Hi, Samantha.
Y'all, we've been getting it together behind the scenes. It's been like, yeah, Diana's laughing because that is, kind of like the iceberg thing where you got the little bit out top and there's like this huge thing underneath. That's kind of what's been going on behind the scenes. But we're here, we're present, we made it.
One
Um,
day we're going to sit down to record and it's going to be like bam, bam, bam. But I haven't seen it yet. Are we on like the episode 40 or something? And it has not yet occurred like that
no, no.
yet.
So, but you know what? It keeps us flexible and alive.
And on our toes. Yes.
All right, so the KISS podcast is all about the tips, tricks, techniques, and the products that Diana and I have used throughout our many, many years. But it doesn't show, does it? Like the good
We've been
stuff
good.
shows.
We've been good.
um, and it's all of these things we're sharing with you because they've helped us to weather the storms of life and get ourselves as healthy and vibrant as possible as we go into these wisdom years. I was looking
That's
at,
a nice way to say it. The
how can I
wisdom
say
years.
this? The wisdom years, the years where we embody the feminine energy in its totality and come out roaring like fierce lionesses. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Coming from. Okay, I'll have some of what she's having.
Okay.
By the way, just so everyone knows, I'm slightly hopped up on. I had Morvita, which is the moringa drink, combined with Livcana, which is the energy drink. You throw Livcana in there, and it pumps you up.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, and if you've been following along the podcast, um, our sponsors are us, and so she started to talk about some of the products we're going to talk about a little bit later, but that's
Yeah,
fine.
we will bring it up later.
And
Okay.
sometimes we have more. Sometimes we add on
Mhm.
what our usual daily thing is.
It's exciting.
Sometimes it's necessary.
Sometimes it is. Okay. Flip side, lady.
Okay, so we're going to start with the flip side. The flip side is where we kind of think of pin down something that's happened to us recently or maybe even a long time ago that
Suck.
seemed like it sucked, or it seemed like it sucked at the moment, but we found something good about it. We tried to find something positive in the semi negative, semi troubling whatever world we were
Mhm.
in at that point. So I'm going to start with my flip side.
Please do.
And I'm going to hop back a few weeks to when I was in Disney World with my family, and my husband was on an ECV. And the ECV is the electric something vehicle, but basically it's the scooter that you can
All
scoot
right.
around in.
Yeah.
I don't know what the C is for.
Yeah.
But anyway, and when we figure it out, we'll put it in the link below. I don't know. But
It's
anyway,
not going in the link below.
okay, well, never mind. Forget that. So it helps get around. It helps people with mobility issues get around. And when my husband had his first stroke, we went to Disney World shortly thereafter, and he did not want to get on this ECV, and we made him get on the ECV because he was slowing us down. And you got to keep up the pace in Disney World or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
But when that
yeah.
happened, when he wanted to get off of it, I would get on it, or one of the girls would get on it. And if you've ever been to Disney World, your feet hurt because you try and go, 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 and it's a lot. So we decided during that trip that even if he didn't need it, we were still going to get the ECV so that somebody could take a little break when they needed a little break. Well, this time he needed a little bit more. Um, and he wasn't quite as agile on it as he had been the first time. So I got really mad, and so I've been kind of tuned into these situations where, like, the handicap placard on your car and people parking in a handicap spot when they don't really need a handicap spot,
Um,
or people just so into their little world that they're not paying attention to the
mhm.
difficulties that some other people might have. And so it was really evident when we were in Disney World because and I I kind of get it because they're in their own little fantasy la la land, looking all and not paying attention. But they would cut him off, and he would feel like he was going to run over somebody. And but it just was complete disregard for someone who was having difficulty. So, and I don't. I was mad, like I was really disturbed by the whole thing, and then I just really started thinking about myself in the past. Like, have you ever thought, well, I'll just park in this handicap spot. It's no big deal. I'm just going to run in real quick and come back out or whatever. Well, when you're with someone who is really handicapped and they have to park away from wherever you are because somebody else parked in that spot, it makes a huge difference. So I guess my flip side is that I realize that everybody doesn't have the same priorities and that I have to kind of temper myself a little bit because I get angry sometimes. Like, I'm like, come on, can you just be nice? Can you just be considerate? Can you just be something? So I've been trying really hard to see it from other people's point of view, but when you're in the middle of it, it really brings, to the forefront how all of us need to be a little more considerate and really think it through of how we can
Um,
help some people that are having a little bit of a struggle.
yeah. And that's kind of okay, taking it into the woo-woo world.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the reasons why we shift on a macro scale, why we shift what our goal is in different lifetimes. Like, people say it's karmic. It's not karmic, it's us choosing to experience a different point of view. So if
Uh-huh.
you were the aggressor in a particular lifetime, then you might choose to be the victim. And so that you can, or the aggress. Anyway, you become the victim so that, yeah, I was trying to think, was there an opposite of that?
I got it. Yeah.
And so that you get to experience what that person actually felt like, so it's kind of, we have these situations in life happen so that we can see both sides of it. And hopefully we're mindful enough that we stop and we, like you did, really take it into account what that feels like. Because once it's done to you, like, you can choose, well, I don't care. I'm going to do this to other people because it was done to me. Or you can sit there and go, wow, this sucked. I don't want to do this to other people.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
different
Well,
personality types
and I
there.
think there's so many instances where we don't slow down and kind of think about that. We don't, it's all about, okay, well, I need to get in the store and get out of the store. Who cares if somebody it takes a little bit longer to get in? But that when you're looking at it through their eyes, it's completely different.
Yep.
So
I
anyway,
agree.
that's my
Yeah.
flip side.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's good.
Well, and also I'm appreciative that I don't have mobility issues. Watching him have the mobility issues, it really does make you kind of grateful for what you do have. And so many of us are like, oh, it's a bad day. It's Monday. I'm feeling, but you woke up. I woke up this morning. Okay, Sam, how about your flip side? What's
Well, it's
going
getting
on?
ever more interesting. Okay, so my flip side has to do with everything we've been through this morning. Um,
I keep continuing to go through.
yeah, yeah, if y'all only knew. Okay, so um, okay, I have been wanting to, or I've been saying that I hate the webcam quarter on my laptop. It's horrible. Like, it just blows things out. It's you spend like this was like a $1,500 laptop, and the camcorder thing, the camera in it sucks, and you have no control over it. So I can't stand it. Well, I've been saying forever that I need to try to get my little Logitech webcam thing that's really nice and records these beautiful, generally beautiful videos, that I've needed
Uh-huh.
to see if I could work that on my laptop. And for some reason, I tried a long time ago, and I don't know what my malfunction was, but I didn't think I could make it work. So, but it's been on my mind because when I go on road trips, I would prefer to use this than anything else. So
Right.
again, I've been making plans with Diana to come up and see her, and then we're going to go on a road trip together. And so it's been playing in the back of my mind. I got to work on this because I'm going to bring my laptop up with me in case I have any readings, anything like that, any client sessions. So this morning, and it's getting like down to the nitty gritty where we're deciding how many days I'm going to be up there for and all this kind of stuff. And then just so happens we try to record this morning and my internet, there's an expression I want to use and I'm not going to say it because it's not attractive, but it doesn't work properly. It keeps falling
It
out. I'm not going to say the word, the expression,
okay.
but it
Does
has,
it start with took a
it's kind of like, when a woman lays down and there's stuff pointing up. Anyway,
got it.
yeah, thank you. So, it just kept dropping. And Diana, and I were like, we were catching these funny expressions of each other when it would freeze. And I'm just going, what the hell's going on? I finally said, I got to call my internet company, see what's up. And this has been going on and on for months now. Um, so I contact them and talk to Norman, really nice guy. And he's like, I'm going to get the first technician out there tomorrow, which was lovely. And then I call my next door neighbor who happens to run the crew that would check this area. And he's my next door neighbor, which is really cool. So I call him and say, yeah, I
Yeah.
just, filed a complaint, or whatever. Not a complaint, but lodged a support ticket thing.
Put in
And
a ticket. You
put
put
in
a
a
ticket
ticket,
in.
put a ticket in there, and everyone's got to do their tickets. What's your ticket number anyway?
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I haven't been home, so I didn't realize that it was continuing problem. And I'm like, well, I live on the internet, and so I know every little drop, every little slowdown, every little
Yeah.
whatever. So he's like, well, I'll get my guys out there this afternoon. It's nice living next to the guy who like runs the crew.
Yeah, nice.
So he's going to have them look this afternoon. Meanwhile, Diana and I are going, do we try to record now? Do we wait till Thursday? But we're all gussied up for this. And Diana's daughter said, damn, mom, you look good. So, Diana's like, we got to do it today. So anyway, you're just
Because I
looking at,
look good.
she said that. She literally
Now,
said that.
maybe I can replicate it on Thursday. I don't know, but
So I am persevering through this. So I go, aha, I don't know if this will work, Diana, but let me get my laptop. So I get my laptop, I set it up, I call her, and sure enough, even with the lighting being better, my camera sucks. Like it just looks horrible. And I'm like, I can't do this to our audience where they have to look at me and just go, you know.
ew.
So this is what
Ew.
happens when you have a lot of Live Canna. Anyway, um, so I was like, I've been wanting to see if I could get my Logitech really good camera on my laptop and have that working. And for whatever reason, I did it and it worked. And this is why you see everything sharp and nice and looking good. The volume, the sound kind of so that'll still sound like I'm talking through, a can, but at least so now we're on Wi-Fi on my laptop with a camcorder or camera, whatever, connected to my laptop. But I found out I can make it work. So that's my flip side. All of this aggravation just to prove that it could work. Apparently, that was
Well, and
necessary.
now you have a plan moving forward, so that's always exciting.
It was a long way to get there, though. Like,
Yeah,
but it worked. It worked.
it's all right. It's
Okay.
all right. It's gonna be okay.
Thank you. So, so thank you.
You're
So we're going to
welcome.
move on to the positive path from here because there's nowhere to go but up from here. So today we're going to talk about self-worth. It goes back to we always talk about, we get his name wrong all the time. Is it Frank Smiley or whatever his name is from
Saturday
Saturday
Night
Night
Live.
Live? Yeah, where he looks in the mirror, and he's just like, gosh darn it, I'm nice. It's like you are wise, you are important, or whatever you always say. And gosh darn it, people
You
like,
is smart, you is kind, you is important.
yes.
And
I
gosh
just want
darn
to
it,
say that. Yeah,
I matter. You matter.
people like me.
We're
So we're
worthy.
going to talk about the self-limiting beliefs. We got a whole slew of them. Pick one, pick anyone. It's like, spread the cards, pick one. But today we're going to talk about self-worth because that's the thing that in our relationships creates the greatest amount of depression. It's the like in the workforce, it's the thing that creates the imposter syndrome. So it's kind of like the underlying belief that stops us flat so quickly in so many areas of our life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what made us want to talk about this was Diana was super excited and she got to watch something that aired Sunday, right? So,
Yes.
why don't you share about that and then we'll
S
get into this.
so I don't know exactly what it was called, but it was Jamie Kern, Lima,
Becoming
um
unstoppable.
pardon me?
Becoming unstoppable.
Becoming Unstoppable, and it was Jamie Kern, Lima, and a whole bunch of self-improve I should say self-improvement, but a bunch of
Personal
experts
development.
in personal development,
Yeah.
exactly. She wrote a book called Worthy, and, she all of these people that came on got advanced copies of the book and we're talking about how great it was that that was the topic that she decided to write this book about because it's one of the things that it's the main thing that holds people back because they don't feel that they're worthy.
Hmm.
So it was really interesting and I was all excited about it and telling Samantha I got the book and I'm going to read the book and but she had guests that I thought did a great job of talking about themselves and how they came about dealing with their self-worth, realizing that they are worthy, they were worthy, they continue to be worthy, and have been working on different strategies and just kind of epiphanies about how people doubt themselves
Yeah. And
because
even,
they're not sure of their worth.
yeah, and what's interesting is you shared and I'd love for you to share a few of those examples here. But just to say that, like, just because you think you've dealt with it, you've uncovered the source from it, doesn't mean it doesn't crop up again. We're constantly looking to our external environment for our validation, and the idea is to get to the point where you stop doing it, but we're in this experience here on earth where the external, like, we're so into the external and not, we're trying to move more into the internal, look inside and all that kind of stuff, but part of the experience here is to experience what's out and around you. That's the whole fun of it. So
Well,
what are
and
some examples?
so many people are so worried about what other people think of them that it overrides what they think of themselves. And I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest message that I got out of this whole day. It was like a 13-hour um what do you call it? Like a
Well, barrage. I don't know. Like, I'm surprised. I've never seen anyone um, do a full day thing like that.
Me
So,
neither. Me neither. And she just kept bringing out person after person after person, but the one that struck me the most was Oprah Winfrey. I have always loved Oprah. Like she's my queen. Like if I could be anybody, I would love to be Oprah because she's made such a difference in so many people's lives. But what she was talking about was how universal this lack of self-worth is or doubt of self-worth. It may not even be a lack of it. It's just, am I okay? Are you okay? Are we okay? Is everybody okay? So she was talking about all the different people, thousands and thousands of people that she had interviewed. And the one thing that they all had in common was this look for validation. So she was talking about interviewing Beyonce, and Beyonce had taught her how to twerk, and the 2 of them were twerking, but then at the end of it, as she handed the microphone back to Oprah, she said, "Was that okay?" And so that was Beyonce who, "What?"
Yeah,
And
she's
then
not
she
in front of everybody, like
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and she's so self-confident, like, you just think she's got it going on.
yeah.
And then she interviewed Barack Obama, and at the end of his interview, he leaned over in her ear and he said, "Was that what you were looking for? Was that okay?" Like, these people have it going on, like, they should be so confident about anything, but they were worried about what she thought and whether they had come through with what she expected of them, apparently.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a universal everybody kinda feels it, and some people feel it deeper than other people, maybe? I don't know. And there's so many people that come across as being confident when really down deep inside they're second guessing themselves. And that's the whole imposter syndrome thing.
Mhm.
And you see it in business and you see entrepreneurs that are successful and, different successful people. But I think we all have a little bit or a lot of that in us.
Well, I was just thinking as you were telling us all of this that, a big example of the imposter syndrome, um, I was talking to my nephew who had worked very hard to get his degree in physics, went on to the next level, I think, of physics, not master, like we would call it masters here, but it's like one more area of study. I can't remember, but anyway, felt he had a pretty good handle on it. But of course, you always go to do the masters. But his whole thing about going even into the master's program, was does he really know this stuff? Does he really know what he's talking about? Does he? And so I was going through a process of demonstrating to people about their patterns of belief and how that affects their life. So I was taking him through this process. And then I said, "So what is it that comes to mind?" He goes, "Well, I feel like an imposter. I feel like I don't belong." And I said, "Okay, we're talking imposter syndrome." And I remember saying to him, I said, especially in the academic world, um, it happens everywhere, but really think about this in the academic world. It is about your thoughts, your beliefs, you set up these thesis, these this is your area of study. You're supposed to be the expertise, whatever it is. And it's very erudite, in the head, very like you'd have to defend what your point of view is, and that's the whole thing, like they enjoy that sort of thing. Well,
Uh-huh.
you have people attacking you, you have people
Right.
trying to find the crevice, and there are people who are trying to do the juxtapositioning to get tenure and stuff, so it's a very cutthroat kind of world.
Yeah.
And so he was just kind of like, who am I to go in there and and say whatever. And I remember he was really just balled up about this, and I said, you understand that no matter who you talk to in that field, they're either a narcissist and fully believe beyond a doubt that they know it all, which is not a healthy thing,
Yeah.
or they are putting on a really good front just like you, and trying to think of the next thing to say and sound intelligent and have their point of view and have the answer to everything. And I said, all this has to change. We're moving from the head space to the heart space into the
Yeah.
fields. And when you stand in front of someone like that, you can feel when it kind of doesn't ring true. You can,
Yeah.
if you really stop and listen to the conversation, and that's what people are afraid of, being found out. And I said, so how do you circumvent that? And I said, well, first off, stop being a poser. The whole imposter syndrome is because you're posing. Instead, recognize the fact that you're just starting into this field, and
You
to
know
let
some things, but you don't know everything, and that's
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, and to sit there and just go, that's an interesting topic you bring up. I've never really considered that. I think that I will take that into consideration, and so right there, that takes you off the hook a little bit.
Yeah.
then there's the other aspect that I've shared with people that has been a big message coming through, which I probably have shared before, but this is one of those channeled messages that have come through over and over again, is that we in this heart space, whatever, we're not meant to be the expert in anything. That the idea is that I know something that might help you. Diana knows something that can help me. And that I am literally just putting my hand out to somebody who may be one step, two steps, lower than, not lower, but,
Behind, like further back
behind.
on the path of,
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah. And all I'm doing is reaching my hand out and saying, here, let me help you come up and understand this concept. Meanwhile, whatever I'm getting, I'm actually getting something from them as well. It's making me consider and dig deeper. And I'm reaching up to people or reaching ahead to people who know a little bit more than I do. And
yeah.
so it's like we're all linked together. We're all helping each other up the hill or through the experience. And when you look at it like that, this is just one aspect to deal with imposter syndrome. When you stop acting like you're supposed to know it all and instead be human, which means fallible. And it means that, yes, you can be misled and believe something that was incorrect. And yes, you could have a belief firmly and then go, nope, I'm going to change my belief based on X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Once you realize you don't have to be rigid and you can be more flexible and
Well,
everything.
and giving yourself credit for what you do know.
Yeah.
And it's okay that you don't know everything. It's
Hmm.
okay that you're not an expert in everything. But if you think about it, there are some things that you know that other people don't know. There
Oh,
are, always. And I don't know. I feel like it's my job to help. That might be the teacher in me or whatever, but I feel like it's my job to help other people further themselves along that road. I'm never going to be at the end of the road.
hmm.
Nobody is.
Nope. Nope.
Now
That's
somebody
not. Yeah.
and
Otherwise,
that's
why are we
not the
here?
job. That's not the thing. Yeah. That's not why we're here.
So shall we talk about the roots of?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is really interesting to do with people when we start looking at the patterns of what they're experiencing in life. I look at what are the emotions that are cropped up by these situations, and a lot of times self-worth comes up.
Uh-huh.
There can be, that they feel invisible, they feel lonely, they feel distrustful, a lot of different emotions. But self-worth comes up almost every single time. I don't know a person that really doesn't bring it up at least in one of their questions. So when I have someone that says this is the challenge they're facing is self-worth, worthiness, um, I like to go through a process where it's like, okay, when's the earliest that you experienced this? And just get them to, like not get in their head about it and just give me an age. And it always, okay, it's not something that happens in the present. It's something that's happened. It could be back in your 20s, but generally it's childhood. Almost
Yeah.
everything links back to inner child work.
Well,
So
and if you think about kids when they're born, when they're little, even till they go to school,
mhm,
they're full of themselves. Like they know that that and they're excited about figuring things out.
mhm,
There's no doubt that in their mind that they're worthy of all the love that they give, all the goodness that comes their way. It's just when they start to kind of step out
yeah,
of that like little cocoon bubble of love, and some kids don't have it from the get-go, but many do. When they start doubting themselves, when they start comparing themselves, when they start um thinking is is am I okay?
mhm.
You're okay. Am I okay? Or am I like them? Are they like me? I don't know. Maybe not.
Okay, so not going to contradict you. I'm going to add
I
to you.
want you to. Go ahead
No,
if you need
because
to.
that's where you really see it, and that's where I think for the kids who have kind of had it like more what we call normal, less contrasty experiences, I think that's where it really starts to hit them.
Uh-huh.
Um, but the roots of it tend to, not always, but tend to start earlier. And what's crazy is that it can even start in the womb.
Oh,
Because yeah, babies can pick up on their wantedness, whether they are a wanted pregnancy or not. They can pick up if their mother is going through feelings of self-worthiness, it can affect the infant. There
okay.
are individuals who they come into this world and they remember what it feels like. Um,
Wow.
Teal Swan, who is a personal development individual, um, she's one of those people. She'll talk about it that she directly felt like she's always known. She knew exactly what her mother was going through. And then there's other studies or past life or uh, early life regression, womb regression, whatever they call it, in which they're able to pull this information up, like from the subconscious.
Wow.
So, well, when people sit there and say, when does life start? Which that is not, it's a movable thing. It's not 6 weeks, it's not 9 months. Um, it depends on when the soul's ready to enter the body. But the soul is hovering and the consciousness is there and present and is very aware of what's going on. It's just what's remembered. So anyway, say it's a loving pregnancy, whatever. But generally where okay, inevitably you're going to screw up your child. Like I hear people say, I
No
just
doubt about it.
yeah, I don't want to mess up my child. I just want my child to be happy and be the perfect parent. And it's like, no, no, no. It's designed that you're going to screw up your child. You're part of what adds the flavor to your child, the struggles for them to experience. Because the moment that you go from unconditional love, which is, you're giving the baby all its needs, you're encouraging, you're doing whatever, the child's the center of the universe, to into like the terrible twos, where somebody say, oh, terrific twos. And it's like,
No.
not generally. Um, but you're going
Wrong.
from yeah, from unconditional love to conditional love. And it doesn't mean you don't love your child, but all of a sudden you were saying, don't touch that. That's hot. And if the child touches it, we tend to swat them, right?
Right.
You
Good.
can't sit there. You can even hug them, whatever. It's still, it generally is like, don't run into the street. So you yell.
Uh-huh.
And so all of a sudden, it's if you don't do your chores, you're not going to get, some cake or a cookie. And so everything becomes conditional. And so all the child has to do, I mean, like there again, we experience our world externally for the most part. And so they're looking at, um, when they're told, don't touch that, don't run into the street, do this, or you won't get this, they start looking at, well, what am I doing wrong? What is it? What's happening here? And at some point they say, well, my mom's not giving me a hug when I really need it. My dad's not doing this when I really need it. And so they begin to start the feeling, they don't know what to call it, but it's the feeling of, I'm not worthy of this. Then what's interesting is that they practice what is the law of assumption. So, I've been really delving into law of attraction and law of assumption. Law of assumption comes from Neville Goddard's works. And law of assumption is where you're more into the feelings of things rather than into, like I always thought law of attraction was feelings, but it's really not. It's if you do these things, it'll happen. But law of assumption is feelings based. So you begin to um, assume this feeling of unworthiness. And so then the universe begins to, this is the attraction part of it, it
Sure.
begins to deliver to you the experience of unworthiness. And so what you're doing is I think of it like a tumor that calcifies. So here's that seed of unworthiness. And then, oh, here's this experience and here's this experience. And some kids will, they have a harsh experience. And so they bring it on one right after the other. They get hit, they get, you know, physical, and verbal abuse. And then, the teachers, the adults fail them, this kind of thing, Um, so they begin to build this whole scenario of, or argument of their lack of self-worth. Whereas you take the child who is loved, they still go through the same experience. They have a
Uh-huh.
loving family and all this, and they're doing their best and they're bringing home A's, and they're just putting themselves out there. And then there's that one time they bring home the paper where they got a C instead of that A that was expected. And the parents are just kind of like, well, we expect you to do better. Or they've come home with the trophy. Here's the other scenario. They come home with the trophy and the parents are kind of like, yeah, we're not going to go yeehaw because you always bring that home. So it
Yeah.
becomes an
Yeah.
expectation.
Yeah.
So, again, the child looks around going, what's happened here? This doesn't feel right. And they don't know the words, like they don't know the emotions to attach to it. So all they're doing is they're attaching the feelings, and they start drawing those experiences in. And once
Yeah.
again, we start the whole process. We do this with, and it's like you can do it with positive too, which pumps you up. Like you get a teacher like you were, Diana, the kids come into your classroom and you're like, well, tell me why you feel this way. Tell me what's going on. And like excited and encouraging, and that child begins to blossom.
Yeah.
But if they already have the seeds, then there you go.
Well, and what would happen is sometimes so I was the math science teacher. Like that was my jam.
That's
And
usually the
so
cool teacher.
I would pair up with English, language arts, whatever, like another teacher. So I would have the kids for part of the day, the other teacher would have them for the other part of the day.
Mhm.
And so many times I would have to undo whatever happened in that other area because they weren't getting the same messages from both of us. I know.
Yeah.
And I mean, luckily for them, they had me for part of the day. But when I had a class all day long, it was so much easier for them to feel good the
Hmm.
whole time. And and they don't have to feel good because they're the smartest kid there.
Yeah.
They have to feel good because they're worthy. There's something great about everybody.
Hmm.
There's something wonderful about everyone.
You
But
know,
so many kids at school, unfortunately, if their wonderful thing didn't fit in the box,
but see,
it's
here's the
hard.
we don't talk about, yeah, with that, and that is exactly it. But like if we could just start in school to talk. I mean, we talk a little bit about feelings. I think they
Uh-huh.
probably do it more in Montessori. But in public school systems, we don't talk about feelings really.
No, not much.
But if we talked more about that and got kids to become aware, and then employed therapeutic techniques to assist them, just think what healthier adults we would have.
I know. I know.
Like you would have worked through, the trauma of whatever you experienced when you were younger. So you wouldn't look for a partner, a spouse who then turned around and cheated on you or kept you unstable or,
Yeah.
lied to you, whatever, because you wouldn't tolerate that. You would be
Right.
stronger about things.
Yeah.
God, it's just it's so fascinating.
It
But
really
here's
is.
here's the good thing is that you can undo it. You can definitely undo it. It's like it's like an onion. There's layers
Uh-huh.
to peel it. I was about to say to unpeel it. To peel it. Um, so, it's a process of going back to those memories, doing the inner child work, discovering where the seeds are of these things, and having that conversation with that younger aspect of yourself, um, reassuring, and it's in a way it's reconstructing your past. I
Yeah.
did it a different way. It wasn't quite in
Or your perception of your
your
past.
perception of your past. Yeah, I had a really good therapist it wasn't inner child work. He did early childhood regression. And so he would take me back and I would have memories and he would go, he basically described it like, we're just going to pluck those out. And so it was rewriting my childhood.
Huh.
And so it's a lot of times I can remember what occurred in my childhood, but I don't have these intense emotions. Like I could say, well,
Trauma.
that sucked.
Trauma response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting concept, but I kind of like doing more of the inner child work because to me, I feel like you're embracing that aspect of you because there's
Uh-huh.
so many things that we do because of it that we're not proud of, that we feel guilty about. So when you forgive your younger self, when you bring that into your now experience, it heals so much on down the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I guess, my thought is so many of us have that unworthy feeling. We don't even know where it's coming from.
exactly.
We don't even know that that's what's happening.
Well, okay, so when you're in that moment, that's where EFT or tapping comes
Uh-huh.
into play. So you may not know where it's coming from, and you're in the moment, and say you've got to appear in front of a group of people, you have to. Maybe appear in front of a judge. I don't know. It's like I'm thinking of those situations where you go, and you just feel
Yeah.
like, okay, so you're having, or meet the boyfriend's parents. Whatever
Yeah.
the boyfriend, yeah, whatever it is. So we've described before about tapping, how you can say, even though um, I have this feeling that I'm nervous, I'm scared, and we're saying anxiety, but a lack of self-worth brings on anxiety. So,
Yeah.
you just sit there and go, if you know it's self-worth, if you feel like you're not good enough to meet them, if you just feel like I don't feel like I can do this, that's self-worth. And so you
Uh-huh.
just say, even though I feel like I can't go through with this, I deeply and completely accept myself. And you say it like 3 times. If you want to go that route, I usually just jump into it. And then you're like, this feeling, and you just really bring up this feeling inside of me. Ugh, I just can't stand it. And so you keep describing the feeling, and what you're doing is rewiring yourself. You're hitting the meridian points, but as you go through, you're lessening the intensity of the feeling. And so you check in and you're like, is it still really strong? No, it's easing up. Okay. And when it starts to ease up, then you start talking about, I've met situations before and I've come out on top. I've done pretty well. Like that's when you start to switch it around and you remind yourself that you are worthy, that you have done things before. You build yourself, as I'm saying this, like you're building yourself back up. This is also kind of the same process one goes through when they do what's called the belief tree. And
Uh-huh.
maybe I'm going to make that be our integration because I hadn't decided.
Good, because I hadn't decided either. And yes, I think that's a great idea.
We forgot to talk about it. So, okay, so we'll bring that up in a minute. This is going to be fun. But anyway, so just take the tapping thing, and it's in one of our other in our emotional. What was it? Emotional release. I think it was in the part one or part two.
I think part
Part one.
one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so if you jump to that blog, you'll see the integration and there's a link that'll take you to stuff about tapping. It's always useful.
Uh-huh.
Always useful. So, yeah. Is that we pretty much covered self-worth?
I think so. I just my big thing is, and you and I have been talking about this recently, that you're enough and that you matter. You have to remind yourself
You're
that
enough.
you're enough. Like in the Barbie movie, you're enough.
Mhm.
You are enough. But you matter as much or more than all the other stuff around you, all the other people you're taking care of, all the other things that seem to be top of mind. You matter too, and you're enough. So
And you What? Wait.
What is I am enough?
Yep, I have
Love
my
it.
clients, like, when it's a really intense session and I'm like, I want them to take this feeling with them, I will have them take a ballpoint pen and write "I am enough" on their wrist, and I do it too,
Uh-huh.
like
That's
solidarity.
cool.
And I'm like, you just need to see that. And I know there's someone who makes sweatshirts now where
Yes.
yeah, where you can like you roll it down and it says I'm enough or whatever.
Yeah, it's stitches on the side, and it's their anxiety, depression kind of things.
Mhm.
I'm
Yep, and
I am enough.
that's so
I
like
love it.
yeah, I have it like it's so hard to I am enough.
Yeah. No, you could see it when you put it up close.
Yeah, so it's something I love that message. Continue. I'm sorry, I probably interrupted
I
it.
don't even know what else I was saying. But I am enough is so important. I mean, that's more important than anything else we've talked about here.
Yep,
But you got to believe it. And
yep.
so sometimes it's hard to get to that point, and that's where everything that you're talking about comes in.
Mhm. Well, and so that's what I do with my clients. I work through those kinds of sessions. They're, like dealing with self-limiting beliefs. Um, you can go out on the internet and find people like Marissa Peer. Her whole thing about I am enough is huge. She does a big
Mhm.
program, and I know she's got something through Mind Valley, and I'll see if I can find that and put the link up.
I
Um,
also want you to put the link for the Worthy book. That's Jamie Kern Lima. Because it's great and it's wonderful, and she's a bazillionaire or something. So the whole reason that she wrote the book is because she wants to get it in everyone's hands so that we all realize that we are worthy and that there's no doubt about that in people's minds.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
that
I
was
haven't read the whole thing, but all the talk about it and all of the people that were on the presentation who had read it were just gushing about how helpful it's going to be for everyone.
that's exciting.
Yeah, it
That's
is
like a
exciting.
huge book launch. Um,
Yes.
okay, so we're going to move on to our sponsorship.
Yes.
We can't keep bringing you these uplifting, insightful tips, tricks, techniques on how to navigate your way to a happier, healthier life without the help from our sponsors.
Us. We're sponsoring ourselves. Well, and you know that the whole point of us doing this podcast is to share some of the things that have worked for us and that hopefully will help your lives be better.
Yeah.
And so you're trusting us with our opinion on things. So the fitness bundle is something that you need to trust us with too. We love it.
Yeah.
We can't say enough good things about it. It's basically a synergistic program where there are three pills that you take. One in the morning, it's called Activate, and
Capsules. Yeah.
yeah, capsule. I said pill, but it's a
Yeah.
nootropic, and it's got goodness in it and some all kinds of good stuff. Um, and I forgot to take mine this morning, and then I took it and I was like, "Oh, now that's why I was feeling a tiny little bit sluggish or whatever."
Yeah. It
Um,
helps with your focus.
and your concentration and gives you some energy. It's not the same as caffeine. It just kind of helps you focus in, tune
Mhm.
in. And then there are 2 pills that are 2 capsules that we take at night. One is cleanse, and it's prebiotic, probiotics, some other good stuff in there. It's all about gut health. And once you get your gut healthy, then everything else works so much better.
Mhm.
So cleanse, and then the last product is sleep. And it has ashwagandha and a bunch of other good stuff in there. But like I said, they all work together and they heal your gut, which helps your body perform like it is supposed to perform.
Yeah.
So there's the 3 capsules, also moringa, which is a daily supplement. It's got all kinds of good green stuff in there, but it's uh vitamins.
I think Diana's overall expression is it's good. It's just good.
It's some good stuff, and you should try it, and you'll love it because we do. So
So
anyway,
those
this is goodness. This is
yeah.
green goodness.
And those three products, when you're cleaning out your gut health and everything, then when you're taking the moringa, your body's able to soak up all the nutrition that that superfood moringa is, which
Yes.
you aren't getting from your regular diet.
Right.
Mhm.
And then
But wait,
the
there's
other
more.
but wait, there's more. The last component is, the detox tea, which helps to heal your liver and clear your system out. So, I think a lot of the problems that we have as far as holding on to inflammation,
Yeah.
muscle aches and pains, brain fog, trouble sleeping, all of those things are due to issues with your gut health. So this whole fitness bundle, one of the side effects is that you lose a little bit of weight, and it's mainly from inflammation, I think. Um,
Mhm.
and so I just feel 100% better since I've been using all of these products. So
Mhm.
yeah, if you want to too.
Yeah, well, and other people, they do experience additional weight loss because once you get your gut health in order, like it causes you to choose better foods. So
Yeah,
then you're not craving the sugars as much. The candidas, like lessened or reduced in your body, which that's the thing, the candida yeast that makes you crave sugar. So once you stop doing that, then your body's even giving you better signals to eat the foods that are the foods you really need to be eating because your body knows what weight it needs to be at. It's
right.
so this is not a lose weight or get healthy quick kind of thing. It's a commitment to your health. And there's a 30-day money back guarantee. You take it for 30 days depending on what you've done to your body, yo-yo dieting, all that kind of stuff. It may not be a result right away. It may take a little bit longer. But I can tell you that at the 3-month mark for me, I just stayed with the program. I believed in it. I was noticing a little bit of differences here and there. But at the 3-month mark, it was like, holy cow. Like, I mean, everything just started to work. My
It's
focus.
like you're firing on all cylinders.
Mhm,
And I'm not a car person, but it's like they call it the fitness bundle, and so many people are like, oh, it's a weight loss, blah, blah, blah. No, your body's fitness
mhm,
means that it's working properly. It's working the way it was designed to work. And those of us who have done the whole yo yo dieting thing, I just remember back in the day, people would say, oh, you either live to eat or you eat to live. And I was like, I live to eat. What in the who would just say they eat to live? But that's the way I feel now. Like my body sends signals when I'm hungry for healthy things. And it
yeah.
never nothing I've ever done in the past has had my body reacting like that.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm sitting here smiling because I'm going, like, it's like you're in the club. Once you start getting this, understanding this, like having it actually working for you, you get it. Like you're in the club. You suddenly experience and you understand everything that Diana's saying here. So
Yeah.
if you guys are interested in this, the link is down below. And also on our website. And so you will be taken to a form. You fill out the form, and then you can check off any of the special interests that you have in particular and receive more information accordingly. Or you can follow Diana or myself on Facebook. The links are below, and you'll hear us talking about it and giving more information about it.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Okay. So let's move on to Weekly Wanderlust. The Weekly Wanderlust, we're going to do the belief tree.
okay.
And this process, I'm going to be honest with you. Um, it it helps to do this with someone else, like because they will hold your feet to the fire. Where like you have to really be good at personal development work. Otherwise, you'll kind of go, yeah, I don't know, and get wishy washy about it. Where the rest of us were like, we go for the burn. Um, is the best way to describe it.
Now, are you saying that when people are doing the weekly wanderlust, they need to sit down with somebody else to do it? Or are
No,
you
they can do it
saying
on
that
their
you
own.
kind of need to have like a little feedback and we'll be happy to jump in and do the feedback stuff?
Yeah, it helps to do it on your own. If
Okay.
somebody sees this and they would really like to give it a try, I would be happy to, just if there's a few requests here and there and I've got time, I would be happy to bring someone through the process. Just got to,
Okay.
shout out to me. Um, Probably get on Facebook, send me a personal message. I'm happy to respond. Make sure you're following me to do that. Um, so yeah, I'm putting that out there. If
Well,
you
that's
are
pretty
a member of
nice. Yeah.
this podcast group, it's like free coaching.
Yeah.
Use it.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a way of phrasing it, and I'm going to say this, but understand the instructions will be um, on the at the blog. What would I have to believe is true about myself in this circumstance to feel the way I feel?
Okay.
So say you're feeling uneasy because somebody's asked you to present, you know, and again, we typically go, well, this is anxiety, but you wouldn't have the anxiety if you had a sense of owning it. Yeah, I'm worthy of
Right.
doing this. I know this stuff. I can do it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can have that feeling of I know this stuff and have anxiety, because it's not really anxiety, it's more of an anticipation and excitement
Uh-huh.
towards doing it. But we all worry when we get in front of a group that, it's like, did I zip up my pants, my fly, so there's that kind of anxiety. But if
Yeah.
you recognize it's that sense of, am I good enough to do this? That's a whole other thing. So what would I have to believe is true about myself in this circumstance of getting up and doing a presentation to feel this feeling I'm having inside of me? And so you look at that and you've got to make sure that you say the first thing that comes to mind.
Uh-huh.
Very
Not,
first.
yeah, not belabor
Yeah.
it. Think it through.
So it's always hard to come up with examples on the spot. But um, I believe that I don't really know the material that I'm going to be offering, right? So then that's when you start the actual belief tree. So, okay, I feel this way because I may not know the material. So other people will kind of laugh at me. Okay, you scale that on a feeling of 1 to 10, and then you sit there and say, you know, see that one to me. You can kind of start off right from the beginning disavowing that. It might be that you have to go down a couple of beliefs, like I believe that I might have a hiccup in the middle of it, or I might, but when you say I don't know the material, if a client said that to me, I would immediately go for the jugular. Like that wouldn't be a very big belief tree because I would point out right away instances in which they have gotten it right, where they know the material, where they, because you're you're in this profession, you're
Right.
you're giving the material, so I mean, like, to your clients. So what's the difference between presenting? You're not an imposter, you're already doing this for a living, so
Yeah.
you should be able to get up. So it's repositioning your perception. That's what it's all about.
Which
And
is what we've been talking about in every single podcast since we began.
yes,
It's all about perception, but this
yeah,
is another strategy of how to do that.
exactly. And what we said about the tapping, I said, like, you work through the intensity of that feeling, and then when you've got that intensity down, then you start going, oh, wait a second, yeah, I've done that before. So you're doing the same thing with this. It might take a couple of beliefs. Well, if this doesn't work, I believe this would happen, or if this
Yeah.
doesn't work, I believe this will happen. So it might take a couple of times, and then you stop and you just go, oh, wait, this isn't true. This is a lie that I'm saying. I'm feeding myself a lie. And why am I doing this to myself? I do know this stuff. So, and then, like, then you start to beef yourself up. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good about this. Okay. So then, is there any more anxiety? Well, yeah, I got to remember to zip my fly up. Okay. I can make sure that someone examines how I look before I go on stage, whatever it is. Um, or I'm scared that I will mess up. And it's like, go ahead and give yourself permission. Like we said before, you're human. It
Right.
might mess up. Make a joke of it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah. So it's really that simple. So you're going from the inner perspective of, I might do this. Oh my God. And then once you shift to the outer perspective, then all of, realizing, oh yeah, I've done this already 100 times. That's when you can release from it and you
Yeah.
choose a different perception. So it'll be the steps will be clearer than how I probably described it here, because it's always harder to do an example and make
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
cogent, I guess. SAT word. So I will have this linked over into our blog.
Okay, good.
All right. It's very affirmation time.
Yes, and we decided that we're kind of bored with our typical sweary affirmations. So we're going to make our own sweary affirmations. So I can't remember what it was we said. I mean, I remember I loved it. I just can't remember exactly what it was.
So these are our own little ways to deal with life. And so, I wonder, these can be affirmations or they could just be fallbacks.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those swear affirmations were fallbacks,
Yeah.
but it's something to keep within you, like, to pull up wild card when you need it. So this one is smile and think to yourself. So you do not say this one out loud. It's a smile and think to yourself.
I mean, you could, but it's probably not acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, you're just trying to, affirmations are to shift your state of mind, shift your energy, right?
Yeah.
So, and once you put it out there, you're going to get a reflex back from someone else. So it's better to keep it in your own mind.
Right.
Smile and think to yourself, I think I'm going to need you to fuck off.
All the way off. I think I'm going to need you to fuck all the way off.
Yeah. I, I think
I
that,
think that might be my new favorite.
yeah, that's so eventually Diana and I are probably going to make up our own set of cards.
And we keep talking about how we're going to order some more or whatever, and we just haven't done it yet. But we will. I mean, there's a list of things that we have to do.
No, I think we should just make our own cards. I think there's more freedom
Mine
in
are
it.
always going to be fuck off. I mean,
Well,
I'll try and expand.
I just thought of one that didn't use the word fuck, but it's got a sweary word in it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think so. I want to get better. This is going to be my goal. I'm going to get better at writing down my flip sides as they occur. And as I come across sweary affirmations, I'm going to note them with my flip side. So I think that's good.
See, always room for self-improvement, even with ourselves. I love that.
Like,
So I want to remind everybody that we do have a couple of things that go along with what we do with these podcasts. If you're watching these podcasts, they are focused on women, women of wisdom, right? That's what I said. Um, so we're talking about Gen Xers in general. You could be above, below, please join us. We've got a Facebook group called KISS Podcast Group. Please go there because that's where we post the videos. We let you know that they've come out. It's the place where you can go and share any of the integration or anything you got from this. Yes, you can comment below, but you could also go share it in the group, and we can have follow-up discussions about it. Diana and I check it out. We comment whenever anyone comments in there. So, like I said, with this whole belief tree thing, if you want a little assistance with it, go follow me, and then send me a PM. But you can also go into the group and get
yeah,
feedback. So please feel free to do that. You can also post anonymously. The link to that is below. Also, the link to our podcast or our blog is also below. So our blog takes all the stuff we talked about, and for each podcast, there is a mirroring blog that makes it clearer, neater, more succinct, less no ums or so's or whatever. And the integration is listed below. Any videos we mentioned, anything we talked about, anytime we said, "Oh, there's a link for this," it's over in the blog that corresponds to the podcast.
Yes.
Um, that's
I think that's it.
that's everything.
That's all.
We are, you guys, this has been a pure pleasure to get through this.
I'm
And
so happy we're done today.
and have
We're
yourself
gonna see you next time.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.